loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we are going to be doing my January TBR. This is crazy to me. I literally vividly remember doing my January TBR for 2023 and it's just so weird to me that it's already time for January 2024's TBR. A whole new reading year. I am excited to get into a new year. 2023 was not the easiest year for me. It was actually kind of awful, and so I'm very glad that it's over and looking forward to like a new clean slate in 2024. Reading wise, 2023 was great. Like personal real life wise, it was pretty bad. So 2024, I'm excited for a new year, new books to read, new opportunities, and I have like that new like hope and refreshing energy of like starting a new year from like a blank slate. So I'm excited for 2024 and I am going to go through my January TBR, but I decided that I also wanted to go through some like channel and bookish goals for 2024 in this video as well. I didn't want to make like a dedicated goals video, so I'm just going to go through a couple of things for channel and bookish goals for 2024, and then we will get into my January TBR. So starting with the goals, like reading wise, I am going to set my Goodreads goal at 250. I really thought long and hard about this. I set my Goodreads goal in 2022 to 365 and I hit that just like by the like skin of my teeth. That one was like so close to failing, but I just hit it like just 365 like 10 minutes before the end of the new year. And then in 2023 my reading goal was 300 and I have a couple of days left when I'm filming this. It is the 29th when I'm filming this and I should hit 300. I'm at like 298 right now, so I should hit 300 and maybe go one or two over, but it was hard to get to that and I felt a little bit of stress when it comes to my reading. I have been reading like less and less each year just as like life gets in the way. As I am an adult, you are just busier and I don't read as much. 300 books is still a hell of a lot. I think just for my own like peace of mind, I would rather set my goal at 250 and hit it. And even if I hit that like easily, that would be lovely. I am somebody who, if I set my goal at 300 and I don't get to 300, I'm gonna feel like a failure. I'm going to feel really upset. And so I would rather hit it at something that I know that I can do or that I think I can do than to do like a reach goal and not hit it. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be 250 and I think that is a great number. In regard to reading as well, I want to try and focus on not being pressured by what other people are reading. I felt like in 2023 I was constantly picking up books because everyone else was reading them and loving them, and I felt like I was like missing out, but they're not necessarily books that I think I would like. And so I'm like, oh, but everyone else loved them, so I feel left out and I want to love them too. But then I was spending my money and spending my time on books that I didn't end up liking and that weren't for me, or that I ended up buying because I wanted to be part of the hype, but then they sit in my Audible library because they're not books that I'm actually interested in reading. And I would much rather focus on books that I actually think I'm going to love, that I think are ones that are going to help like broaden my horizons, that I'm actually going to enjoy and that are worthwhile to spend my money on. And I just want to try as hard as I can to not get like overwhelmed by the pressure of what other people are reading. And there are books that like are on my 23 books to read in 2023 that I never even glanced at because I put them on there because they were popular, because other people were reading them and I was like, well, I should read them too. I'm not interested, and those books are now removed entirely from my TBR because I don't want to read them. I just put them on there because I felt like I should because of how popular they were. Does that make sense? So that's something that I'm going to try and really hard to focus on in 2024. Also, more in regard to like books and buying, I want to try and buy less books, and that goes a lot for audiobooks. When I think about it, when I'm going through, I'm like, oh, it's $7 and change. That's not that expensive. But when I'm buying 6 or 7 of them a month, it really adds up. And financially, 2023 was really, really hard. And I'm really hoping that I can work on that in 2024, but I need to be much more frugal with my money, and buying audiobooks, so many audiobooks, is not a good thing that I can do. It's not something that I can handle anymore, and I have to be more particular about the books that I'm buying and really, really utilizing the subscription services that I pay for, like Kindle Unlimited, especially now that I'm reading more ebooks. I need to try and not just get the audiobook because there's an audiobook. If I feel up to reading it on ebook, I'm going to try and read more on ebook, which is also why I wanted to lower my Goodreads goal, because if I'm reading less audiobooks, I'm going to be reading less because I read so much slower on ebook. So I want to try and really utilize my subscription services, and that also includes the library, Libby, and Hoopla. A lot of times I want to read the book right when it comes out, but it's not at the library yet when it first comes out. But a lot of the books that I buy end up at the library eventually, so I want to try and, at least for some books, wait until they're at the library so that I can get them for free instead of just buying them right away. It's just much more sustainable in the long run and saves me a lot of money, and I really need to do that now. I also want to try and read more of the books that I physically own. I am somebody who tends to only buy books if I have already read them and love them, but I do have about 2 or 3 whole shelves on my bookshelves that are entirely full of books that I haven't read yet. It's not that many, and when it comes to like comparing me to other people, but I still have them and I still want to read them or unhaul them because they are seriously taking up space, and I don't have a ton of space in my room. So I really want to remove them if I don't like them, because I want to have an entire library full of books that I actually love, not books that I haven't read. So I want to try and get to the books, or at least a lot of the books that I have that I physically own that I haven't read yet. Okay, I think the last like bookish one that's not like channel related is that I want to start implementing that I don't mark books as read on Goodreads until I review them, or until I'm ready to review them. It is something that I seriously want to do in 2024. Was a goal of mine in 2023 that I only really did for like the first 3 months of the year, and then I just gave up. I want to write a review for 80%. It doesn't need to be every single one, especially for books that I don't have a ton to say about them. But if I can write like a sentence, one sentence, it is my goal. I want to write reviews physically. It is the best thing for authors, and as somebody who reads mostly indie authors, writing reviews is so important. And I do my verbal reviews with my wrap-ups and everything, but it is so much more beneficial for the authors to write a physical review, and so I want to really try and do that and write them for every book that I read, or at least over half of the books that I read, especially if they're books that I love. There are so many books that I have marked on Goodreads from 2023 that are favorites of the year that I don't have a single thing written about them on Goodreads, and that is just tragic because I love those books so much and I want people to read them, so I should write a review. So I'm going to try really hard to not mark them as read until I have the time to actually sit down and write a review, or when I'm filming my wrap-ups at the end of the month, to go through and write reviews for all of the ones that I'm going to talk about in the video for my wrap-up. Whatever works for me, somehow I'm going to work it out that I'm going to get into a habit of actually doing this, because it's something that I'm really want to do. It is important to me that I actually do it. And so it is my number one goal to do. If I don't complete any of the others, that is my number one thing that I want to write reviews. So I do have a couple of challenges that I do yearly. I did quite a few of them in 2023, and I have even more that I'm doing in 2024. So I actually just went and grabbed my notebook. I have been setting it up for 2024. Like, here's my like 2024 thing. I am not creative or like artistically inclined whatsoever, so it's all very basic, but I do have a couple of challenges that I want to mention. So I'm going to be redoing my A to Z New to Me author challenge. I've done this for the last 2 years, I believe, and I really love doing it. Reading new to me authors is something that I really try and focus on throughout the year. So that is one that I'm definitely going to be doing. I have an A to Z of favorite books, so all books that are 4.5 or 5-star reads. I did that last year and the year before, so another one that I've been doing for the last 2 years, and I really love doing it. I don't complete it each year, but it's really fun to try and work towards. I am going to be doing a challenge to read 20 new to me BIPOC authors. These can be ones that fit into the A to Z challenge or ones that don't fit into the A to Z challenge, but 20 new to me BIPOC authors. I am somebody who tends to find a BIPOC author and then read a ton of their books without actually searching for new ones, and I really want to search and find new ones, and I want to read more diversely. And I say that every year, but it's important to actually do something to make sure that I'm completing that challenge and that I'm actually going to read diversely, because if I say, oh, I just want to read diversely and then continue to pick up books as I have been, the books that are presented to me most of the times are by white authors. So I'm going to actually take the time to search and research and follow creators of color to find new to me BIPOC authors and read at least 20 of them. Ideally it'd be more, but at least 20. Then I have 12 priority reads. I have a whole video on that of my 12 books that I want to read in 2024. So I have a spread of that. So that's a challenge. And then I have this one, which is the Buzzwordathon. The Buzzwordathon is something that Lala from Books with Lala does, and I'm not like doing it the way that she does. It's more like I went and watched her video from this year and from last year of the Buzzwordathon, and I just wrote down a couple of things, a couple of the challenges that they have, and I'd like to just complete them throughout the year, not for each month like the actual thing is, but it's basically like a theme or a specific word that's on the titles, that's in the titles of the books that you're reading, and it's just something to look out for. And I just think it's super fun. So some of the ones that are on there are nature words or repeating words or relationships, so like a title that features the word wife or brother or mother or something like that. The word secret, there, and there, so like one of the forms of there in the title. So it's just a fun challenge that I want to do, that I like to do. I just have a fun time with little challenges like that. It helps me with my reading, and when I'm not sure what I'm looking for, when I'm like in a mood where I don't know what I want to read, that's something that I can look at and say, oh, I haven't read a book with this word or an author by this letter, and it's something that I can look at and say, okay, I don't know what to pick up. I can pick up something that fits into the challenge. So it's just something that fun that I like to do. It's not a lot of pressure, but I have a good time with it. Then when it comes to channel and social media goals, I have a couple. I want to start doing more vlogs. It is not something that's super popular on my channel, but I love making them. I love actually taking the time to read the books rather than talking to you after I've read books and doing like recommendation videos. And while I'm going to continue to do my like normal recommendation video content and the content that I've currently been doing, I really want to add in more vlogs and more themed vlogs. Not just like I'm weekly reading vlogs, but actual themed vlogs. I have a couple of ideas, but if you have any ideas that you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments. But I want to do some new author vlogs. I want to do like trope where I read a bunch of books with the same trope. I want to do vlogs where I finish series that I'm in the middle of. I want to do like a series binge one, 24 or 48 hour readathon ones, a couple of scavenger hunt ones that I have. I have a couple ideas for like bookish games choosing my TBR. I think those will be fun. So I just want to do more themed vlogs. I think they're so fun, and that's the content that I like to watch on YouTube. That's what I watch when I watch YouTube. So I really want to try and do more of them. I just think they're so fun. And then the last thing that I have is for Instagram. I want to post more consistently on Instagram. I say this every year, I'm so shitty at it, but I want to try and post at least every week on Instagram, and I want to try and start making reels. I have never made a reel in my life. I honestly don't know if I even know how to make a reel, but it's the content on Instagram that is the most popular and that get pushed the most, and so I'd really like to grow my Instagram a little bit more and put a little bit more effort into it. It's just, I think it would be something that I would have a lot of fun with, and that I think is something that I can be a little creative with. So that's it for my goals. That was a little longer than I thought that it was going to be, but I wanted to go through at least a few of the goals that I have and let you know where my reading and content is going to be going in 2024. I want to continue to post 2 or 3 times a week in 2024, depending on how busy I am that week, but I'll always let you know in my Instagram stories or in my YouTube community page, so just keep an eye out for that. But please let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you would like to see going forward on my channel, because I would always love your input. So now that all of that's out of the way, let's actually get into my January TBR. I'm so sorry that that went so much longer than I thought it was going to. Okay, as for my January TBR, I'm going to be starting off with some new releases. Like I always do, they're always the first ones that I mention. So the first one that I have is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. It is the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. I adore the Crescent City series so much. House of Earth and Blood is one of my favorite books of all time. This book actually comes out on the last day of January, and I will be starting it on the last day of January, which is why I wanted to mention it, because I will be starting it in January, but I will probably finish it in February because it's a super long book. But I did want to mention it because I'm going to start it in January. The next new release that I have is Loving Romeo by Laura Pavlov, which comes out on January 18th. You guys know, as of 2023, I am a huge Laura Pavlov fan. She was my #1 most read author in 2023. I love her so much. And this is the first book in her new series, which I believe is called the Magnolia Falls series. And it is a spin-off of Cottonwood Cove. You meet the hero in this one in On the Shore from the Cottonwood Cove series, and he is a boxer or like fighter, and it's a fighter romance, and I'm highly excited about it. I love Laura Pavlov with my whole heart, and I'm so excited for a new series from her. Then we have on January 19th, Twilight of Embers by Tessa Hale. This is the first book in a new series from her, which I believe is a fantasy romance series. It is Why Choose, like all Tessa Hale's books are, and I am so excited for it. I actually think I'll be getting an audio arc of this book, and I'm hyped for it. Madison she used to be called Princess in Paperback, but I think she's called Madison Fox now, and she read this book early, really early, and she loved it, so I'm really excited about it. And then the last new release that I have is The Bastard in the Air by Saxon James and Eden Finley, which comes out on January 18th. This is an stepbrothers romance, and I love Eden Finley so much, and I love her writing with Saxon James. Them co-writing is just so freaking fun, and I'm really excited for this one. They have been talking about how they want to do more grittier or angstier books in going forward, and like adding those in, because a lot of the books that they write have been like very fun and silly energy, and I think that they want to transition into more like grittier angsty ones, and I believe that this is the start of that, where they're doing like a stepbrothers like forbidden one, and I think it's gonna be so good, and I'm really excited. That's it for new releases. So the other books that I want to get to in January, I have Knotted by Pam Godwin. This is actually one that was on my 12 books to read in 2024. I already own the audiobook of it, and I figured it would be the great one to start off with. I love Pam Godwin writing dark romance. I've read 3 books by her, and I've loved each one of them, and this one is a dark cowboy romance, and I am really excited about it. When I was at Book Bonanza and I met Pam Godwin, I asked what I should read next from her, and this is the one that she said. She said that it was kind of like a darker, sexier Yellowstone, and I think that sounds great, and I'm hyped to read that one. And I already own it. We're already jumping into books that I already own, or ones that I can get from the library. This next one is from the library, and that is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I want to read more fantasy romance, and this is one that I've been really interested in. I'm a little apprehensive about it because I did not like Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I think I gave that like 2 or 2.5 stars. It was not a good one, but I've heard good things about Throne of the Fallen, and it is adult, which I am much more into. and I actually just got the audiobook Hold in from the library yesterday, so I might start that before the end of the year, but if I don't, it'll definitely be read in January. Another one that I have coming in from the library is The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I have it on hold and it's set to come in the beginning of January. And this one is one that I have been wanting to read for a while since I saw Christy from Christy Reads a Lot talk about it. I read The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson and I did enjoy that one. And this one is a nanny romance, single dad, and it just sounds really cute and really good. And I did like the writing in The Fake Mate, so I want to go back and read The Nanny. Another one that I already own is The Unwanted Marriage by Katharina Mora. Katharina Mora is one of the new authors that I really want to get to in 2024. I haven't read her books, but I've met her. She's actually super, super nice, so beautiful, and I'm really excited to read her books. I've seen such good things about her books from so many of my friends, and I want to read the series from her, and I own this one, so I want to get to it. I will also be reading House of Sky and Breath, which is actually a reread for me. I've only read this once, so this will be my first time rereading it, but me and a couple of friends are co-hosting a Sarah J. Maas Crescent City read along in anticipation for book 3. So our live show for this one will be in January. I don't remember the exact date of the live show, so I'll leave the live show details in the description box so you can check them out. But I will be rereading this with some friends in anticipation for a book 3. Then we have Sin 2 by S.J. Tilley. I have loved S.J. Tilley in 2023. She's one of my new favorite authors, and I have been reading her Sin series. I read the first one in December, and I want to read the second one in the series, which is Sin 2, in January, and I own this audiobook already. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I have heard so many amazing things about this book. I've loved reading Hannah Bonham Young in 2023. I loved Next of Kin and Next to You, and I also loved her sapphic novellas, so I want to read Out on a Limb. It is Avery from Ava's Romance Books, one of her favorite books of the year, and I love Avery's recommendations, so I know that I'm going to love this book. Avery actually gifted it to me for my birthday, but it's buried in this pile over here, and I want to read that one. And the audiobook I got for free from Libro FM as an ARC, and I just never got to it. Then the last one that I have in my January TBR is Garin Park by Nordica Night. This is one that I want to read from Kindle Unlimited on the ebook, and it is an MM romance, and I think it has to do with like racing or motocross or something with like vehicles, and it's like a enemies to lovers MM romance, and it is McKay from Oh Hey It's McKay. It's like one of her favorite books of the year, and I saw her and a couple of other people talk about it, and just the way that McKay talked about it in so many of her videos just sounds so freaking good, and it's something that it sounds like I will really like, and I've been wanting to read it for a little bit, and so I'm hoping to finally get to it in January. But that is the last one on my January TBR. I didn't want to go too overboard at the start of the year and like overwhelm myself, but that is going to be it for this video. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe, stick around, see more content from me. Let me know down in the comments what you're excited about reading in January, and also what I talked about with my goals. Let me know what you'd like to see content-wise going forward. But that's going to be it, so I hope that you have the absolute best day. Bye!